I think a lot of the mattresses and stuff could be handled on a municipal level through a town-wide type thing. But going back to Johnston, so Johnston has the same type quota set up on their tonnage for the cap for the year, and they pay if they go over, if Johnston goes over the cap, they pay the penalty gate fee, correct? Above the 57.
They don't pay.
They don't pay the penalty. So just to elaborate, again, I started off by saying all the municipalities have skin in the game. And I understand that.
I apologize for that. I
So-
apologize for missing Johnston. They're part of our host community agreement. We have a signed contract.
Understood. Host community also has a cap. The reason the penalty after the cap is to enforce recycling and teach you to do better, because it in turn gets filtered down in the penalty on the municipalities that have to increase their waste hauling because they're not meeting their cap. So the point I want to make here is we're all in, whether we're the host community or not. That's why they don't pay a tonnage tipping, but I believe that they should be paying the penalty because they have no skin in the game on trying to enforce the recycling. So that's important to note. Again, there's 6 years left on a landfill, and why the 38 get penalized financially?
Yeah, it's 20 years, but yeah, fair enough.
But
Point made.
There's one community not being penalized to
Understand.
to increase recycling, and we have a serious problem with that, and I told you what I thought the gold standard was.
Yep.
Well, moving on, are there transfer facilities that divert the waste in-house? Are they allowed to collect out-of-state trash, and after they divert the plastics and everything else, the actual trash, is that allowed to come into the landfill? And how do you know that it's not out-of-state trash?
So is there transfer stations that, like recycling centers type that do?
That are licensed recycling centers that break out and they'll have trash left after they recycle everything, metals and plastics?
Yeah, I'm sure we take volume. What we don't allow out-of-state trash. That's against the law. If we know about the out-of-state, because that's not our role isn't to police whether somebody is driving a pickup truck from Attleboro with a pickup truck full of trash. We would never be able to police that. We have them sign for every load that comes in, verifying that. We have signage. So I couldn't sit here and tell you that, with certainty that there's no out-of-state waste coming into the residential.
So if I may, it is plausible out-of-state dumpster companies can have full dumpsters coming into a licensed recycling facility in the state of Rhode Island, breaking out the diversion stuff, and then what is left is the true trash that there is no recycling, then can enter the gate at the landfill and there's no questions asked.
Well, just as much as a trash truck picking up dumpsters at the border of Rhode Island, going into Massachusetts, coming back out of Massachusetts, and then bringing them to land, we would never. It's impractical. Yeah. But in fairness, that's a systemic issue that I don't know that anybody could ever monitor and control. What we do is we incent through price. That's one way that I think has perhaps, again, not suggesting we're plagued with out-of-state waste, but I'd argue that pricing has driven a significant change if that behavior had existed. And we also know that there's $50,000 penalties for folks that don't abide by that rule. We're not an enforcement agency. We don't have an enforcement arm. There's no way a truck pulls up with a load of rubbish on the board that we know where that came from. It would be thousands and thousands of vehicles a day go through that facility. There is just no way that could happen. So.
Each municipality does, like we said, the quota. So we basically know what each municipality is bringing in. So you would have a general idea of what would be extra tonnage would pretty much be, all right, a general state of Rhode Island with this many residents, and we already know we're picking X amount of trash up by the cap and what they go over. Wouldn't be hard to calculate if there is a problem with out-of-state trash coming in. I mean, not everybody in the corner has a dumpster, but if you see tens of thousands of dumpsters coming in, it might relate to an estimate of quite a bit of garbage may not be coming from Rhode Island as something you can study and look into.